Well, when the alcohol story was playing, Gifty, you were here.
Yes, I was here.
Okay, let me first greet you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you sleep well?
I slept well.
Yeah, you were working the whole of yesterday. That's why I'm asking.
Yes, I did.
I'm really concerned about the
Don't be concerned. As you can see, I'm strong and fit.
Well, Dr. Saba, you work with the University of Education, Guneba.
There we go again.
He's a microbiologist now. He was watching the alcohol story and says that there's no alcohol in Ghana that will
kill coronavirus.
Meets the limits when it comes
That's
to...
true.
Yeah, so...
Because Aquatation has about, is it 45 or so, 40% or 45%, I think.
That is the one on the market. 70, I'm told that when you get it from the source where it is distilled, rough.
It still will be 70.
You taste alcohol before?
Of course.
Of course. Oh, okay. Great.
Tasted, yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
It is the Bonini.
Ghanaian Times newspaper is what I want to start with. I always start with the Daily Graphic. Today I want to start with the Ghanaian Times. It comes with a picture of Bishop Daniel Obinim. And it says, court throws out Bishop Obinim. That story is on page 12 of the newspaper. And orders him to pay 1.6 million to the state. That has to do with his arrest by the CID some time back last week. It also comes with a picture of Jean Mensah, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, and the story there is election 2020 EC to compile new voters register last week in June. But we brought you the story that the pilot is starting first week of June, which is next week. We'll be here at your election headquarters to bring you the very latest updates on those ones. And there's also clearing agents 44 in court for duping state of 16.4 million. That story is on page 11 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the back of the page, there is what's a very big figure. 327,948 insurance stickers captured on database. That's according to Justice Ofori. And then Samsung Health Support at Dakru District. Take a look at the center spread of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Okay, it has a detailed version of the Obinim case. It says, court throws out Bishop Obinim. Man 70 hacks nephew to death. That's a story we brought you here on JoyNews as well. And then it comes with the details of the Electoral Commission's plan to roll out the compilation of the new register. There you have it in your screen. Okay, let me go on with the Daily Graphic. The Daily Graphic is reporting that Parliament is divided over results of COVID-19 tests. That's also a story that we tackled comprehensively here on JoyNews yesterday. And we brought you some of them today as well. Then the big story there, voter registration begins in June, which is next week, by the way. And it says 33,367 centers for exercise. So let me see if I can just do a quick first paragraph. It says the Electoral Commission has finally announced that the mass voter registration will start from the last week of June and end in the last week of July this year. It was originally scheduled for April and May, but the exercise has had to be, the date has had to be changed because of all the controversy surrounding it. Grab yourself a copy of the Ghanaian Daily Graphic and get more of the details. Back page, reward for 3 young farmers, and FDA destroys COA FS recalled from market. Center spread, Muslims mark quiet Eid across the country. Join Chief Imam for prayers on national television. So I think that they took their time to bring you highlights of that program that went on GTV, and also from some mosques. It has pictures of mosques, pictures of the Chief Imam at GTV when they had that Eid. There you have it in your screen. Why don't you grab yourself a copy of the Daily Graphic or download their app and follow the information up there. Roland, what do you have? Well,
let me start with the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Good morning to you, Mr. Benefson, managing news editor of the Dispatch. And the NIA, that's the National Identification Authority, has not registered 1 million persons in Ashanti. John Buedu says. It has an attached picture of JB, the General Secretary of the MPP. Down there we do have Ekufuado corrected a jury 2 weeks ago that he was a spokesperson, not leader of Alliance for Change. And you're very much familiar with politics in the 90s. You should know all these subsequently, and it's talking about the issue of whether there was a leader for the organizers of the 1995 Kumipeko demonstration. Alliance for Change seems to have been settled as recently as 2 weeks ago, because the managing news editor of the New Crusading guy who was part of the group that organized that Kumipeko demonstration said that at our recent celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Kumipeko demonstration, something interesting happened. Our host, Ejiri Blankson, after introductory remarks, invited President Akufo-Addo by referring him as our leader. Before I could respond, the president got up and said I was only the spokesperson. So has been put to bed. But it also comes with a story that is fully represented on the back page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And it says, Nyaho Tamaklo also resigned from Alliance for Change. Many have been wondering why one of the founding members of Alliance for Change was not among the group. And again, another correction that ultimately he resigned from Alliance for Change. Now, back to the front page of the Daily Dispatch. Easy to use 40 days for new voters register. Age and composition of Ghana's population to guide you, says the Daily Dispatch newspaper, so that you get to know. 2010 population and housing census said will grow averagely per year 2.5%. So you can do your extrapolations. You come to some conclusions, and for those who like working lotto, you get to know which regions and which demographics will be what population at what age, etc., and who should get into the register ultimately after the last one was compiled in 2012 being an update. Let's have the Daily Guide newspaper has on the front page, voters register. NDC position outrageous. AG. And AG, we're talking about the Attorney General. And the voters register is set for compilation starting last week of June. Again, front page of the Daily Guide, gave Woyome property to State Security Minister. Voters register set for June. Lebanese rubbishes Malians claims. All on the front page of the Daily Guide. On the back page of the Daily Guide, Ket hands a free GFA job. And the story continues, and we start with the lead, which says that the GFA President Ket Okreku has demonstrated a strong commitment to unity and togetherness in the football fraternity by offering a crucial role to his closest rival in last year's GFA election. Now, we're told that he's to serve on the Division 1 League Advisory Committee. I don't know whether that's a crucial role, serving on the committee. If he's leading the committee, I'm thinking my estimation, but that's just my opinion. We do have on the back page again, clubs to resume contact training, boot for boot, pound for pound. So the league, that's the Premier League, is expected to resume. It's expected to resume on January 12th. No, should be June 12th. Yeah, mistake. Wrong caption by the Daily Guide, but that's what at least we know has been briefed the media in England. Balotelli faces sack after missing 10 days training. Now, we do know he's playing for the Italian side of Brescia. Jan is a rare striker, and Grant admits. He also did say that he should have stayed in England. I don't know if you have to get money to Saudi Arabia or elsewhere. Qatar, whether you keep playing for the laurels and the glory, but I think I'm done.
Okay, I have the Daily Statesman. The Daily Statesman reports also what the Electoral Commission is doing. It says, all set for new register. EC to use 40 days for fresh voters registration exercise. Akufo-Addo has shown consistency in managing the economy, and a new voters register is the EC right. Okay, that's an advertisement for a program. Abu Ramadan is speaking on that. And on the back page of the paper, fight talk. Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson, Derek Chisora, Floyd Mayweather, and Tommy Fury. Talking about boxing and, some bouts that are ahead. Then I made Muammar al-Gaddafi weep in 1982. Michael Mensah discloses. Michael Mensah is a former Ghana goalkeeper. He's opened up about how he made erstwhile Libyan President Muammar al-Gaddafi shed tears in the wake of the 1982 African Cup of Nations final. Grab a copy of that paper and take a look at how he was able to pull that off. But there are very interesting stories on the inside pages. States to take over control, or to take control of Woyome properties. It says the Ministry for National Security has asked the Attorney General to transfer to the state some properties belonging to businessman Alfred Agbesi Woyome. So details of that also in the newspaper. And then EC, right, that story we've told you already. Akufo-Addo has shown consistency. It's also a story that they put together. I saw a story about tax waivers. It says GRA will offer tax relief for COVID-19 donors. We brought you that story yesterday. The Daily Statesman is now reporting it. And it says the chairperson of the COVID-19 National Trust Fund, Sophia Akufo, former Chief Justice, says the Ghana Revenue Authority will offer tax incentives to all individuals and companies who donate to the trust fund. That's the COVID trust fund. So if you donated or your company donated, you're in the good books. You want to follow up and see what tax incentives there are for you. And then this story as well came yesterday. Unipass GC Nets about to shut down so that the new system will go on. It says the GC Net will cease operations at the country's port on Monday, 1st June, that's next week, to pave way for Unipass, now Integrated Customs Management Systems, ICOMS, to take over the single window operations at the port. If you are a freight forwarder as well, that story should interest you. And the stories go on and on and on. On the front page, by the way, on the center spread, it's all adverts. That's the Daily Statesman. I end with the Finder newspaper. The Finder newspaper is talking about how just how expensive freight charges have become. 145% hike in air freight charges. Vegetable fruit exporters are in a limbo. Now, because of what's happening around the world, it's become more expensive to transport your goods via air. That's what the Business Finder is reporting. And then it says EcoBank named most innovative bank in Africa. Bankers revised loan budgets downwards. And let's see. The tax effect of COVID-19 in Ghana. There's some analysis here on the center spread. And ICU supports GABA to achieve goals. The bank revised, I will end with the bank revised loan budget downwards. It says banks in Ghana have become revising downwards their budget for loans and advances to consumers. This is due to the expected impact of coronavirus pandemic on the economy, particularly financial services. So it looks like the banks will be giving a lot of loans, obviously. Take a look at that newspaper if you're interested in those stories. And I think we'll do my Joy Online, shall we?
Yeah, but we need to.
Oh, right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Don't worry. Don't worry. So I'll start while
right.
you get a sneak peek as to what you want to discuss. And there's a story occupying the front page about the new voters register and how that has an effect on whether we're going to have the right sort of protocols being maintained.
Yeah.
And I will link that to a page 3 story that the Daily Dispatch has about COVID-19. How do I cope without you? Wife of late rector. We're talking the surgeons, College of Physicians, and Professor Plangiru, the wife. The funeral was held and then streamed live on Facebook and observing social distancing and all that. Now, Professor Plangiru is a big man, very big man. Now, we're having a situation where our MPs are telling us that if you publish their status, then they have a problem with. And I think that should not happen. Look, in Iran, we had the deputy health minister come out fully to say that he was positive. When he tested,
yeah. He was actually sweating profusely. His story became
on camera.
He was profuse. Yeah, he was addressing a press conference that was meant to talk about coronavirus, and he tended to be sweating profusely. Only to be diagnosed, with COVID-19 a short while afterwards. Yeah. The UK Prime Minister.
Exactly. He's even a vivid example of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Prince Charles had COVID-19.
Prince Charles, monarch.
Yes, he had COVID-19.
Even bigger than the Prime Minister, I think.
And it was announced. I think the thing really for us Ghanaians is to members of parliament represent us, right? They represent us. So am I interested in the health of my member of parliament? By all means. I want to know how healthy my member of parliament is. I beg your pardon, today my mask is not behaving very well. I want to know, I think that in a pandemic, when it comes to personal information and the privatization, no,
privacy.
That's not the word.
In terms of the privacy.
I beg your pardon, privacy. When it comes to privacy, I think that in a pandemic, it's a whole new ballgame. Because in a pandemic where your health status can affect me and can affect everybody else in the newsroom, I deserve to know what your health status is. Yeah. I think that when you look at Parliament, how closely knit it is in terms of the arrangement of the seats and everything, people ought to know if one person has it, we should know that this person has it, and we should be able to distance the person from the other gathering. So in the pandemic where we have seen that one person can infect about 600 people, why do you want to cover it up with privacy? People should know.
And I do know that people's health information is confidential.
It is. But this is a pandemic.
In a situation where we have leadership that is taking swift response in trying to combat this, even the actions of the leaders could serve as role modeling for the entire population. And if I have my member of parliament for Ashaiman, for example, or for Tema West, for example, come out to say, look, I'm positive, but I'm going to fight this.
Yes.
It serves as an example to me when I also get infected to know that, look, even my member of parliament, who I revere so much, has it and has come out to say, look, I'm going to fight this. So it also means I can follow through some of his examples.
And the good thing is, like, was it the Iran vice president, Iran health minister's
deputy
case,
health minister?
He indicated, we did a video, and he said, look, we're going to, even when he was suffering it, he said, I have corona, I've just been diagnosed with coronavirus, but we're going to fight this, we'll keep fighting it. And at the end of the day, when you recover, it gives people very good signals that this is not a do or die affair. Exactly. Even though it's a very serious illness, it's not a do or die affair, that you can recover. And we can use those people to tell the story about stigmatization. Yesterday, they were discussing it on the floor of Parliament, stigmatization. Now, if you come out and you talk about it, it will help reduce the level of... But when you cover it up, everybody begins to feel like, oh, it's a monster disease. Yes, it is. But everybody then begins to also want to cover up. It won't even encourage people to go out and say that, I'm experiencing these symptoms. Do you want to check me to see, before they keep spreading it to other people? So I think, personally, I think it's important for us to know. If the individuals are not willing to share, at least if there is a record of the disease in Parliament, by all means, let us know. Put it out there.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for me, the voters' registration begins soon. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about it. I get the feeling that it just for me highlights the insincerity of politics that we do in this country. The level of insincerity is so high. Look, you can go back and play the sound bites of former President John Mahama in 2016 and the things he said about the Electoral Commission and everything that they wanted to do. And you can play the voices of then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Come back now, compare the notes, and you will see how the tables have just turned directly to the opposite side. It's just paralleled. It's like a mirror of what happened in 2016. It's just that the tables have turned. So for me, it just tells you about the level of insincerity in the politicking that we do in this country. As far as the EC is concerned, they are poised. They want to go forward. We want to see how secured this process will be, how safe this process will be as far as coronavirus is concerned, how equal, how much of an equal ground are we giving to the parties that are playing here? The minority or the NDC has been complaining, the opposition has been complaining about their strongholds being unfairly dealt with because they are not registering as many people as possible. We want to see that, you know,
that parity.
We want to see the story on the ground different from the complaints that we're getting from the NDC. I think that's, for me, it's right now, there isn't much you can do anyway. They're just starting. They're starting next week, they say. So.
Yes, and even yesterday evening, I was on a discussion platform, one of those that we always belong to, and And some members of the platform even use themselves as an example. Someone, for example, had not registered for an NHI, an NIA card. I think the mom in the village and the aunties don't have the NIA. They don't have a passport either. Of course, they have the option of having guarantors to go guarantee for them.
But that's the problem now the civil society groups raise.
Exactly.
That if one person has to come with 2 or more people to vouch for them, and you're just increasing the number of people at a particular registration center at a particular time.
So I think, one, we need some assurances from the main body, that is the NIA, that is doing the registration. That in areas where there have been complaints, especially in some of those regions where especially the NDC says that the registration has not been wholesome, would they go back and quickly, before the start of this exercise, try and cover and then do the distribution of the cards?
Okay. It'll also be good to see whether the courts, how the courts will rule in the case where existing voter ID cards are not supposed to be used for this process. All right, some food for thoughts for you there. Let's get on myjoyonline.com. Look at the stories there. 6-year-old boy electrocuted by TV antenna. Looks like that's the father. I mean, sad story. I'm sorry to, dampen your day, but hopefully, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. Move on to the next story there. Kennedy Japan is still trending. He's been sued for defamation. Okay, interesting story. Ghana records 86 new cases to bring COVID-19 case count to 7,303. With 2,412 recoveries. Majority Leader calls for MP's ex-gratia to be reviewed, and woman 2 others nabbed attempting to buy baby. We brought you that story here. A lot more stories there at myjoyonline.com as well. Why don't you scroll on that, take a look at the stories that interest you the most. All right, you want me to say it? It's time for sports, as you already know. As Haribidiako is coming up with it, do stay tuned.